Mississippi different from Iowa?
Many ways. And it still is, even going back now, which I've done twice in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, the weather is very different. It's very hot, especially in the summer. But there's just a very different feeling about Mississippi. And I think the thing that I noticed the most was that there were so many African Americans there. Because, especially growing up in Iowa, you know, just in the big cities, that's the only place you see African Americans in Iowa. But in Mississippi, in the country, you know, farms, rural Mississippi, small towns, some small towns were mostly all blacks. So that was kind of the first thing in terms of the civil rights movement that I noticed. And then the way people move and the sort of pace of life is very slow. I think that's because it's so hot.
Yeah. So, like, in your first 48 hours, what was, like, the main things that you noticed? Like, what drew your attention? Like, oh, wow, this is really different from Iowa.
That's a good question. I think for me, because had I gone down just as a tourist, I think it would have been very different for me. But because I was a part of the civil rights movement, what I noticed was, first of all, I was trying to make sure that none of the white people knew that I was a civil rights worker, because if they did know, they'd get very angry.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we were in danger all the time of people finding out what we were doing. And the other thing was just that, you know, this was the first time I'd gone any place by myself. And so I was, you know, introduced into this office where I worked. And it was all new. The people were all new. It was a dangerous situation. And then in that first 48 hours, I found out that the 3 civil rights workers who had been missing, they found their bodies. So within my first 48 hours, I found out that other people like myself had been killed. So it was a very, I would say, shocking first 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to hold up a picture, another picture here. This is the 3 civil rights workers who were killed that summer. And this was the poster that they had all over the state trying to alert people if they could find them. And so these 3, within the first 48 hours that I was there, we knew that they had been killed.
How did you feel like when you found that out? I mean,
It was surreal, as they say. It was everyone in the office. That was the other thing, is that normally, had I come in at a different time where I was working and been introduced, people would have, you know, been thinking, oh, here's a new person, and, you know, being more friendly. But because everyone, it wasn't just me that found out they had been killed, it was everyone. And the office where I worked was where they worked.
mm-hmm.
So that this town that I was sent to happened to be the same town where they had been working. And so everyone there knew them. And so everyone had just found out that these people they had worked with were for sure dead. So it was, everyone was just in a state of shock. So we kind of just sat around.
Mm-hmm.
Where were they found?
Well, it was actually someone who they would never have been found if someone who knew what happened to them had not informed the law enforcement people. They were found buried really deep in a dam. There was a farmer who was, all of the people who were responsible for them having been killed were members of the Ku Klux Klan. And so there was one member of the Ku Klux Klan who had a farm, and they were building a dam there. So before they put in the dam, they put the bodies at the bottom and then just covered them with all this dirt, which was forming the dam. And so they would never have been found. But someone felt a little guilty, I guess, and informed a lot of enforcement people. But they went there, they dug into the dam, they found the bodies, and that was where they were.
Where did you stay that summer?
I stayed with an African American family in Meridian. I was in Meridian, Mississippi. It was a couple, and they had 3 little boys, and they took me into their home and treated me like family. It was wonderful.
How did you feel when you got there?
To their home, you mean?
Yeah.
I just felt completely welcome.
So like, how are they different, like from your own family, or like how are they similar to your family?
Well, there were more similarities than differences. I mean, it was a wonderful family. The thing I liked was that they had these 3 little boys, because I just had an older brother. And so for the time I was there, it was like having these 3 little brothers, and they were always coming into my room and bugging me and wanting to talk to me. So it was wonderful. It was great. And sometimes I've just been reading. I kept a journal while I was there, and I've been reading that lately. And you know, things. I'm glad I did that because I've forgotten things. But one of the things I said in the journal was that some nights I would come home from work and I would help. Alice was the lady I lived with. But I would help her fix supper, and then after supper we'd sit around the table, just she and I talking. And we had some really good conversations then. It meant a lot to me. And I actually got to, we're still in touch, because when I went back 5 years ago for this documentary, I had lost touch with her, but I found her by going through the phone book in Meridian and just calling people. And so we went to her house. She invited us over, and we went to her house. And I got to see her and talk to her again, and we've been in touch since.
So does she still live in the same house?
She doesn't live in the same house, but she still lives in Meridian. And she had 3 more children after I left. So she told me about all her children.
How did your fellow friends respond to the racial tension in Mississippi?
I think it was mixed again. Some people thought it was wrong that we were going down there and that we didn't belong there, and that we shouldn't have. A lot of people thought we were just stirring up trouble, and other people thought it was good because afterwards the Civil Rights Act was passed, the Voting Rights Act were passed. So actually the work that was done actually accomplished something.
So you felt like what you were doing was worthwhile.
Absolutely.
How did the white people in Mississippi react to, your support for just equal rights?
Very poorly. They didn't like it. They didn't like it at all because it upset their way of life. They had kept everything separate. People were very prejudiced in the South and in the North. So they didn't want to be told that to go to the same schools. The schools weren't integrated; they were completely segregated. And white people wanted to keep it that way. Plus, the people that were really opposed to the civil rights movement, people in the Ku Klux Klan, they just unreasonably hated anyone different than them. I don't even think they knew why. And so it was a threat to them. It was I think a lot of those people felt that by keeping black people, as they called it, in their place, it made them feel more important. And that if everybody were equal, how were they going to feel important? So they really didn't